Welcome to Dragon's Tome. This is issue 112, episode 112 of the Dragon's Tome. We will go over every issue of Dragon Magazine chronologically. And we're into August in 1986. We've been doing it for 10 years now, I think, about. Didn't it start in 76? I think so. Oh, yeah, we just had 10th anniversary like 2 episodes ago.
We're 10.2 right now.
This cover is called...
And I'm Jack.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm Rob.
I guess I'm Chopper.
Our names are on the screen. For some reason, it actually has my name on it. Usually it just says host. So they changed that. This cover is Easy Pickings by Daniel Horn. Have we added Daniel Horn yet? Daniel Horn is later on does a lot of good covers.
Yeah.
I remember the name. I'm not sure is this his first one. It might be.
Why is this Easy Pickings?
Because that dragon's about to come eat these dwarves.
Mm.
He said it was based on a...
These gnomes?
I think they're dwarves.
Definitely dwarves.
He said that he had this, he drew this while on a hike with his buddies, and they were just sitting around, and this came to him, and so this is like them sitting under a tree, and then he imagined a dragon was there. So it was based on a real experience, which is kind of fun.
Oh, that's right. I did read that thing. They were coming back from an SCA event and took a rest in an apple orchard. So my question reading that is that did he just pull over in an apple orchard and said, hey, let's just kind of kick it in the field for a minute?
Or maybe they were camping there and we're just walking back from where the event was to where their camping was. Pat, I think you're on fire. I see smoke. I think you're on fire.
My brain. I'm thinking too hard about this.
I do like the cover. I think for some reason, these kind of covers, I know why, because we will get to it eventually with my very first Dragon magazine, but it reminds me of that, so it's got a little special thing, the color palette, the warmth. But
very orange.
I do like that dragon. I like the shape of him. He's kind of lithe. I like it.
You like the cut of his jib.
I like the cut of that dragon's jib, and I can't wait till he burns these dwarves to crisps.
When I saw the cover, I was like, okay, I've seen this cover before, but it could have been through any other like osmosis. But when I read the description about, I was like, I had this magazine. I had this one.
Yeah, I have had this one too.
So, yeah, when a bunch of things started, shooting off in my mind as I was reading it. But yeah, as a cover goes, this is a good Dragon magazine cover.
Yeah. It's got a dragon on it. I think all Dragon magazine covers should have a dragon of some sort. But the best ones always do. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Anything else about the cover?
Mm-mm.
I'm going to start because I've started every single one this set of recordings, so I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about on page 5, it's on page 8? Is it? I'm so confused. It's not where I thought it was. Yes, it's on page 10. Sorry, it's Dawn of a New Age. It's all about the Mohan has changed everything in this magazine, and due to the survey. So he took this survey, and then he actually listened to, even though if there's some things were like 50-50, whatever was to be changed, he decided to change everything, which I think was a horrible idea. So what's happened now is the Aries section is gone. No more Aries.
Boo.
More computer coverage. Boo. Less theoretical articles, less realism, less tables. We like the tables, but yeah, we could do it with less. No more articles on falling damage. Yay.
Yay.
Less jumping pages in articles, which is hilarious because this article jumps pages, so I thought that was funny. But he does say that sci-fi is pretty much out. It's going to be mostly fantasy, which sucks. And because that's what the survey said. 51% of people wanted more just fantasy, so he decided that was a good idea. So,
never mind us Star Frontiers fans.
Yeah, I think it was. Surveys don't work that way. You could take suggestions and stuff, but I don't think you should listen to a small percentage of your audience.
Well, the problem with open survey is that if you have 100% of people taking the survey and 100% of those people only like D&D, that survey is going to say we only like fantasy.
It's going to be skewed, yeah. It's a who responded, but it wasn't even that skewed that much. But that's all I'm saying. It's like a lot of it was pretty close. So why change things if it's half the people like it, half people don't like it? Well, you can't change it then, because the half the people who like it are not going to like it anymore. It's going to flip the other way, so it's a difference.
Yeah.
So,
if we're talking about binary black and white changes,
that's how the survey was set up, though. That's the problem.
And that's how it looks like Kim Ohan has attributed to how they're going to rectify the issues. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like you said, it depends on who would reply with the survey. First of all, that's a subsection of your audience. Then their opinions on certain things. Like it's good to get that information. You want the fans, they're paying good money. They don't want to be given, a subpar product. But as we discussed earlier, they're not getting any more subscriptions. They've kind of plateaued. So this is kind of trying to suss out how they can get just a few more in there. So,
and I must say, I most of my dragons were after this point, so I'm only retroactively annoyed, because obviously I love dragon after this point. So only reading the Aries section and really enjoying it, I will miss it. But we'll see how it goes. I do remember, even when I was collecting, there was a lot of Marvel superhero stuff. So I think that their idea that it's going away it's not going away. It's just going to be mixed in with everything else. So that's...
Well, I hope so. I mean, and I think it does eventually get mixed in. Because
it gets mixed in this issue. It gets mixed in, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was... just want to set the stage. We're happening. This is a brand new age of... the beginning of a new age of Dragon Magazine. Jack, do you have anything to say about the new the type for the typesetting?
Yes. If you look at the title on the top of the page, and that doesn't burn your ass with the heat of 1,000 suns, then you have no soul. What kind of kerning is that? What kind of spacing is that on those words?
You have to say it in a James T. Kirk tone.
Why aren't they all capitalized? Usually titles are all capitalized, no?
Well, why is New Age not capitalized?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If anything, New Age itself should be capitalized.
Of doesn't necessily have to be.
No, I doesn't have to be. But New Age should be capitalized.
And then to have the
there's no semicolon.
All wrong. And then, like you said, when they're going to stop having articles that go to that are broken up by pages to flout their own findings and do that with this article, but also then claim that they've now gotten the new typeface, this new pizzazz that's gonna
they use the word pizzazz too. And that's the title. Yep.
They're inconsistent with both how they separate paragraphs, how they do tabs, and the title looks like that. Like, I don't know. Was this a prank to get me in 40 years to make me? It seems like a targeted attack, and I'm not having it.
It's true. It does seem that. Yeah. So that was my first article. Anything else about the new? Well, I'm sure we'll get to it as we go through these articles. But anything else about the new age, as he calls it? Let's go to Patrick. Where's your first article?
Page 21.
21. Revenge of the Nobodies.
Revenge of the Nobodies. Peasants have strength in numbers.
Continuation.
What really killed me about this article, and the reason why I'm bringing it up, is that it was an article basically to help focus the Mighty of the Now characters by giving them political movements to champion.
Yeah.
So there was a whole bunch of different political movements that they could pick and help out. Some of them were ridiculous, like the Mines for Men Society. It's furious humans that dwarves are only the miners.
Yeah. Is it supposed to be funny? That's my question.
I don't know if it is or isn't, but because most of it is ridiculous. Like these halflings hygiene backlash movement. That's because halflings walk around without shoes in grass, and then now they started ringworm epidemic, and now there's a movement to make them wear shoes when they come into the cities.
As flavor in world building, all of these have a, as a story hook, have a place. All of these seem to be like things you could have.
Even as just a throwaway joke, like you walk into a town and somebody gives you a pamphlet and it's for one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you read it and it's like, okay, or like that's why this town is a certain way. It does have it wasn't a useless. This was one of my articles. It wasn't. It wasn't a bad read by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all. I laughed and I thought it was funny, and I thought actually how apropos right now it is in today's atmosphere.
Yeah. It's almost a satire of today's. Yeah. But it just more things change, the more they stay the same, obviously, because it was a satire back then too. So Revenge of the New Biddies.
Yeah, so, you don't know, because context is everything, and to sit here and not know, there might have been subtle references in some of these that were happening,
actual existing ones. Yeah,
at the day, and someone
you take your D&D party and you champion the halflings and stop the people from making them wear shoes.
But also, there might have been a current events situation where that's where someone who had this.
I guarantee it was
would have a little like, oh, I see what you're doing, little scathing.
Joseph R. Rabbits.
Yeah.
We'll go to Jack. That was one of your articles. Which another one of your articles?
Well, then I'll go to my other one, which is 29. We're going to stay right in the same area. And we're talking Cloaked in Magic. Now, I'll be very surprised if I haven't scooped someone in return for their...
I think you're fighting each other. You guys are in a scoop battle.
We're like, me and Jack are a team.
You're copacetic.
Like minds think, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, I think...
Great minds think alike, and dumb ones seldom differ.
What?
It's true.
How dare you? Backed by popular demand, Rob lashing out in anger.
I wasn't. I was quoting the actual thing. The actual.
Yes, I know, the statue of Ozymandias in the desert. You do it all the time. So Cloaked in Magic is the garments that we know and love, that are to keep you warm at night, but also these are magical ones by friend of the show, Ed Greenwood. So
Professor Greenwood, new list of new magical cloaks.
Dr. Greenwood, Esquire. And there are. Everyone loves magic items. Everyone loves to add into something new and exciting into your adventure. And some of these are really good. Some of them are.
I just read the Cloak of Fangs. It's pretty much
Cloak of Fangs
grenade.
Is my awesome. I was going to say, what I put in my notes is that love Cloak of Fangs, it's basically a death blossom in a cloak form.
Yeah, just shoots out darts to everybody in their range.
If you're going to reference The Last Starfighter.
Yes, obviously. Everybody knows what a death blossom is. Come on. Yes, there's some fun cloaks. Jack, what is your favorite cloak?
I will say that there's one called the Cloak of Comfort, which
that's a good one too.
And it mirrors one of the magic items that I had put in the game I wrote, and it was not the exact same, but it's very, very similar, and I liked that. There's some here that like reflect magic. What I liked about the article and the way it was kind of designed is, for the most part, having a cloak that kind of protects you by its very nature, just the mundane version. Most of these are protections as well. Like, it's almost like a bit of a theme. Not all, but they all kind of had the same feel as something you would wrap yourself in. So whether that was intentional or not, it's a very nice happenstance.
Yes, 100. It was a good article. A lot of good cloaks.
Yeah, it's Greenwood's really good at doing. He did swords. He did rings. Like,
yeah,
he's really good at doing just off the top of his head, just pumping out like 10, 20 different cloaks that you can just use in any campaign. So every cloak we come across in every campaign now is going to be some weird cloak.
I can only imagine his workspace, his desktop, when at this time. There must have been just reams of paper with notes and just everywhere. It must have been like
Oh
a
yeah.
paper lanch every time he got up to go grab a coffee.
Yes. It's back to me now, right? We're going to go to page 83. Dire Invasion, Rom and the Space Knights of Galador. Funny thing about this one, it's a Marvel file kind of thing, but it's all about Rom and the Dire Wraiths. But Rom's not even a Marvel character, and they only recently had the rights to print his old stuff again. But he's I think was it Milton Bradley who made, I think it was someone like that. It actually says in the in the copyright. Who is it? Marvel Comic Group and Parker Brothers. Parker Brothers made Rom. Rom was just a toy that it was a real boring toy. It was this one guy, and he's kind of tall. I think he was like 8 or 10 inches tall. He had different weapons, and he lit up, but there was no enemies for him, and he was just the one thing. So they contacted Marvel and were like, hey, we need a backstory for this guy. So Marvel made up this huge backstory, crazy stuff, Dire Wraiths, like all this really amazing stuff for this one terrible toy. So, and it turns out that they could use all the stuff that they could use everything but Rom. So Dire Wraiths eventually end up in Excalibur, and Dire Wraiths are crazy. They look like silver wolves, kind of the alien wolves, but they can take over people's bodies, and they just wear their skin and look like people.
If they had just Parker Brothers had just let them keep using Rom, they might have stayed afloat.
Yeah, Parker Brothers, yeah. But yes, so space, and they can use all the Space Knights of Galandor. They just can't use Rom because they invented all this stuff. So it's just kind of funny. But
it's only read-only memory, so
yes, yeah. I think that back then it was like Rom. That's a fancy sci-fi name. Meanwhile, we know what Rom means.
Yep.
Yeah. But it does give the stats for Dire Wraiths, which the funny thing is the Dire Wraiths that they picture here, that's the ROM version. The Excalibur version are much cooler and much more sarcastic because they're quite funny because British humor. Yeah. So if you're into ROM, there is an omnibus out right now. I don't think it's out yet. Pre-orders are up for it. So if you want to read all the
Romnibus, if you will,
I think they call it the ROM. I think they call it that.
Oh no.
So
Jack was trumped.
No, I think they actually do call it the Romnibus. Yeah. Well, just like the Marvel Zombies, they call it the Zomnibus. So there you go. Anyways, enough about product placement for Marvel. They don't need my help. So we'll move on to someone else.
Like I said, when I had this magazine, I didn't know what ROM was, and now that explains why I didn't. Which, I was collecting comic books at the time. I was every bit of comic book I could get my hand on.
I do remember Rom for a little bit, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, I think it was 30 issues, maybe, something like that.
And then the red goopy guys with the bags of goop. I was like, I don't know what they are, but I was like, what's going on here?
It left you intrigued.
It did.
Actually, one of the I think it was Cable eventually ended up with one of the Knights of Galandor's sword, so it's was still going around. Anyways, we're back to Patrick, I believe.
All right, let's go to page 25.
25. Roll of computers. You're actually going to talk about this, eh?
Oh yeah, only because I've never played this game Rogue. It looks just like any other Apple IIe or TRS-80
dungeon crawler.
Dungeon crawler in a sense.
Yeah.
But it does talk about two different games. And the second game is where I was going to go to. Never played Rogue, and they do a whole lot about Rogue, but then they only talk about Bard's Tale, which is probably the more successful of the franchise.
Everybody's heard of Bard's Tale.
Yeah. And I do remember playing Bard's Tale from EA. It was a very good game at the time, really, really in depth for can you even call it an 8-bit game at this point?
No, I don't think it is. It's 2-bit.
Yeah, it's very, but very, very, one of my favorite computer games in the beginning of computer games was Bard's Tale.
It was, at the time, it was groundbreaking, and and eventually spawned all that we were talking about before, the gold box and all that. I think it all comes from Bard's Tale, really.
Yeah,
like the same kind of gameplay and.
But well, Bard's Tale and Wizardry.
Yeah.
And when people today say, hey, I like roguelike games, well, this is what they're talking about, Bard's Tale.
Right.
So you just, if they say it's roguelike, just know it's a.
That's exactly what this is based on.
I mean, I honestly don't even remember this game Rogue.
No, I don't. I think
anyone who played this game Rogue, let me know if you liked it.
It was probably the guy who wrote this article. It's probably his brother made it.
Yeah, it's just anything I read in it was groundbreaking for me. I mean, the guy was saying it's just not an adventure game, but blah, blah. Epic's made it, which is kind of weird for me because Epic's made a lot of computer games back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially for IBM PC and Apple II. And I think they even started making Macintosh at some point. So,
yeah, it's. I do like the screenshots, I guess you can call it. I don't know how do you think they got the picture of the Apple screen? Did they take a picture of it, or is this like drawn?
I think someone might have taken a picture, or these are from computer magazines,
maybe
back in the day.
That might be the box art. That might be for promotional purposes.
Yeah. It does bring back a lot of memories about original Windows.
and or someone maybe even literally took a picture of their own screen.
Yeah, and just super saturated it to make it look like that. I don't know. It looks a little too good, I think. So. Anyways, Jack, what's your next article?
Well, because Pat and I, we were doing the Man with Two Heads, teaming up like a good Etten does. I'm tapped.
How dare you? Okay, I'm going to go page 99.
Ooh, the great one.
Because we're going to Dragonmirth. Because it's a cleric smashing a stake with his mace. And the person behind saying, as I understand it, his deity is very strict about edged weapons. He's not even allowed to use a knife for his food. So he's just smashing his mace across his poor stake. That's humor, Jack.
I remember, because I had this magazine, like I said before, and each one of these in the Dragon's Mirth, I remember as the target audience, I was like, oh, these are great. Like every one of these, I was like, oh. Some of them still hold up, but
yeah, there's some alright ones. Pat, do you have another article?
I do. I have one more.
Well, that's good because we're really short on this episode. We're at like 15 minutes.
It's not a huge one, but let's go to page 90.
90 for a fistful
of credits, and this is more equipment for Star Frontiers, which I've now earmarked to add to print and put into my Star Frontiers rule booklet.
You're gonna make a Dragon magazine supplement for your Star Frontiers.
I am, because some of these things are cool, like this Cloud Flyer is a new vehicle that you can get. It's a lot of money, but you can still get it. They got new programs, new medical stuff, and miscellaneous equipment, like a density scanner. Environmental suit is always a good one, especially in Star Frontiers. Especially when you do a lot of crash landings.
Yeah, it's good not to just be killed outright from the atmosphere.
Yeah. So I would like to point out, though, as the Ares is gone, the color of the background of the page has not changed.
Yeah, it's still the gray, right?
It's still Ares color.
I wonder if that's because at the time they didn't know Ares was going to be gone, so it was just like, hey, here it is.
They just took out the cover page.
Yeah, took out the table of contents and took out the cover page. Yep.
If they already done all the lithography, had all the layout done, and were ready to print, and they just said, well, "What are we going to do?" Well, you just put ads where that one page is going to be, print it.
Let's test that theory. Let's see what's at the beginning of the Marvel file. Oh, look at that! It's a Fire Sale Dragon ad and a Twilight 2000 ad.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That Fire Sale Dragon ad, it used to be the cover for Ares. Yeah. So that was it. I have one last thing to talk about, and that's because it's let's go to page 43. And it's the Dragon Magazine Ultimate Article Index. 10 years of articles, advice, monsters, and magic.
This one goes on for pages and pages.
Well, huge waste of space in the middle of the book, first of all. So that goes on for ridiculous amounts of pages. We'll just scroll down. Then we get to page 53, and this is Gen Con event listing, which goes on for another ridiculous amounts of pages. Total between these two things is 23 pages of this magazine. This magazine is 108 pages, exact same as every other magazine. So you paid for an index, 23 pages of index, and 23 pages of event listing in this magazine. Like, that's bad.
But this issue only did cost $1.25.
So did it now? No, it's $3.50.
No,
I would rather see the event listing than this index, because
both of them should have been there, fine, but don't add it to the total pages. They should have been extra pages. Like, that's not right. That's crazy, you know. And it's like, before, it'd be like, okay, it's an adventure. Whatever, that's useful. These are useful to a small percentage of the people reading this magazine.
Only because I know from Saturday night is when we get the RPGA members all got together and hung out.
Now, do you think it would be better if they had said one or the other? This magazine.
Yeah, at least it would be a little less hurtful to have 23 pages of this magazine. That's a quarter of this magazine is dedicated to.
This is also nostalgic because this is my second to last Gen Con.
Oh, aren't you special?
For a while.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you were there last year. I will say I did not go to the AD&D second edition seminar.
Mm.
Oh, look at this. Jeff Grubb and Roger Moore hold a superhero seminar.
That would have been great. They don't really do seminars anymore, do they, at Gen Con?
They do.
Do they?
Yeah, most of them are held out in Lucas Oil Field, because when I had to do that seminar with Dark Horse.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You do that.
We're going to walk way over to the goddamn football field.
And I understand why these seminars, even by today's standard, they don't get recorded or anything like that. There's no, for the most part, there's not like a live stream even to this day. But imagine if they had just gotten a camera, like Roger Moore and Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, some of this stuff would have been.
Yeah, that'd be gold. You know,
just
you could
archival footage of those two jockeys.
And you could put that out for $30 on a Blu-ray or something.
Just like TSR, if they've been obviously if they were thinking way ahead, they could have put VHSs out of all these things and made a lot of money off just people who couldn't go to these things but wanted to see them.
TSR, right? They would have put it out on the Betamax.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Laserdisc.
Laserdisc, yeah.
Here's a forum, a seminar for Rob to go to. It's called the Dragon Forum. The Dragon magazine staff discussed the subjects concerning the publication of the magazine.
Well, that actually is a nice segue to my last article. My last article is in the forum, and it's this guy. It's
what page?
It's page 8, and it's the bottom of the middle column by. I don't even know who it's by because it goes on to page 31. It breaks up the article. But it's a rant against Mohan's article. We ranted about how men and women shouldn't have different stats. And this guy goes off. And
he does, yeah.
He says limiting women's strength by increasing their constitution makes no sense because in game terms, that makes no sense. All things that make women have better constitution in real life are attached to hit points in strength in the game, not constitution.
It's from Darcy Stratton, which could be a girl.
I assume it is a girl.
Could be a guy.
She also says they also say that female demi-humans having the same issues as female humans makes no sense. Like, why would you group them together? Why should they be similar to humans at all? Like, it makes zero sense. That's just lazy.
This has to be a girl because she goes off in the last paragraph.
She's very angry. Yeah. I think it goes to page 33, I think is the last bit.
Yeah.
And, So I do like that because maybe I give Mohan credit. He did publish this. He didn't have to, but she or they definitely do not like what he had to say about the thing that was a follow up on another article that we already said was stupid. He just doubled down on the stupid, and now he got a little slap back by good old Darcy Stratton of Eugene, Oregon.
She was angry. That's. Those are Karen threats at the end of there.
But But yes, to take umbrage with the how mechanically strength and the hit points and the constitution all kind of would, even out in the wash. But that is a good point. But then to also say, well, demi-humans, like elves are physiologically different than humans. So why would you take this thing that it admittedly doesn't work with humans mechanically and then apply it to them as well?
Especially dwarves. Like dwarves, obviously dwarf male and female are so similar that we can't tell them apart. And yet some reason
beards.
Yeah.
No, don't start the beard debate again.
But that's just crazy.
But it does yeah.
I don't think she's wrong. She's not wrong.
Really
no,
did.
But we took umbrage with that article too.
Yeah. We took umbrage with both those articles. She does expand, like you say in the last paragraph, saying that she thinks AD&D in general is pretty sexist and a lot of bigotry and stuff. And it's like, that sounds very modern.
Yeah.
Darcy was ahead of her time at that point, but I can see like if you can read anything into anything, and if you want to read sexist stuff because it's based on like pulp magazines and stuff, which were obviously back in the day aimed at boys, young boys, right? So
yeah, well, I mean, I would say to Darcy then, I mean, if you don't like the sexist part, take them out.
Yeah, that's the beauty of D&D. You play it how you want to play it. She said she had not read the rules closely and assumed it wasn't sexist. Like, I don't know how the rules are sexist. Like, the things Mohan was talking about aren't in the rules. That's Mohan's ideas. Those aren't in the rules. Everything in the rules is pretty egalitarian, I think. There's not much... I don't think there's much conversation about male or female in the rules at all.
I think in the DM's guide there is some male-female charts.
Is there?
I think.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I looked at the DM's guide.
I don't think
I do remember...
In making a character, I don't think there's any difference. Like, there's definitely none of that stuff there.
No, I mean, I think the differences in the charts is age and weight and height.
Well, that kind of makes sense. But even then, it shouldn't, because we've seen, even in modern times, you see Amazons, like super tall women and different body shapes, and you see guys that are slim and, it's kind of ridiculously looking back on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, do you need charts for that? You can just put whatever you want to put.
Well, unless it
doesn't really affect the game.
Unless you're rolling up a character for Gamer World, and you end up being a 400-pound vampire mutant. But that's a whole different story, which I'm sure we'll get to eventually.
That's a whole different thing.
My mutations were pretty bad, Jack. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it sounds like you made a character from What We Do in the Shadows rather than for.
I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Dystopian future.
It chose me. But he's allergic to light, and he can drain energy from a distance, and he is rather portly. He's bulbous, I think they said. I could have chosen only one body part, but I chose his whole body instead of. I could have just made
one giant leg.
Yeah, that's right. Might have been awkward. Anyways, enough about my Gamer World character. But
I got the elephantitis in one leg.
Yeah, pretty much, or his head, bobblehead. I could look like a
big thumb.
I could look like a Funko Pop. Anyways, that's it. Any more articles from either of you guys?
Nope.
No.
Me and Jack knocked out 2 in one bit.
Yeah. Luckily, I had a few to cover, so we had a little bit more time in this episode. Ads. Pat, do you have any ads?
I do. I have several.
Excellent.
Page 2 will be my first one.
Page 2. Citadel Miniatures. Yep.
Citadel Miniatures. I had some of these miniatures, and I still do have some of these miniatures. Like
Judge Dredd.
In the bottom row, I have that Skaven with the spear.
That's Skaven with the spear. I think I've seen that many places. Jack probably has that guy.
I have 2 or 3 of those.
No, that's 100% like it might be a proto version, but it becomes like the for generations the rat miniature.
Yeah.
I don't see Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd's on the bottom row left.
Yeah.
And the Eternal Hero is on the bottom right.
Oh,
but I have that Skaven, and then I have the Troll with the club on the top right.
Yeah, he's pretty classic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chainmail, Citadel's chainmail is always, you can always tell their miniatures the way they do chainmail, you can always tell it's a Citadel miniature because you can always see it. Yep, good old Citadel. And they do a Citadel compendium and a Citadel journal. There you go. It's his catalogs pretty much.
Yeah.
But I love seeing the old miniatures because it does bring back a lot of memories. You kids don't know how good you have it nowadays with these multi-pose and.
When I used to be an art writer, they used to let us dive the bins when we would come out for Games Day, and they would sell it at 8 cents an ounce. So you fill a bag and whatever it weighed, and you paid 8 cents an ounce. And so I have a ton of lead from Citadel. But one year, I don't know who it was, but that person no longer worked at GW at a time the next year. But someone had knocked over 3 rows of bins.
Oh.
And all that lead went flying everywhere.
So you had to resort it all?
No. So what they did is they just put them in giant bags.
They're like,
sold them for like whatever. And I bought one of those bags, and that's where I got all those scavens from. Was that bag?
That's funny.
Because we all know how impervious to damage lead miniatures were, how they would stand up to, say, being toppled onto a convention floor.
Yeah, they're probably all bent to hell.
I don't think that the vast majority of them you could just re-rack and say, pay full price.
Yeah.
I did like the metal miniatures when you could just bend their arms slightly and change their poses that way, because you could just bend them. Unless you bended them too far, and then it was trouble. But, yeah. It is a fun time remembering this stuff.
Yeah.
That's
my first ad.
I'll go to my ad next. We're going to go to page 19. It's Battletech, of course, because I'm obsessed with Battletech. And
I left that for you.
I love this ad because it shows all the great houses and all their symbols. And this full-color ad, finally.
House Steiner.
Yes, Pat is a diehard House Steiner. Also a nice locust picture. Like the ads are getting better. They're actually getting pretty clear. There you go. It's the wrong way on my screen. But this is pre-clans. This is the pure joy of only having 5 houses.
This is when Battletech was... These are the golden years of Battletech.
I would say that, yeah. The people like the clans, but this was the golden years for sure. But swear your allegiance. Choose a house. Okay, House Kurita. I'm done. Yeah, okay. I can see Jack being Kurita.
Yeah, you see being Kurita.
Yeah,
100% samurai.
100% shifty.
Feudal Japanese.
See, I didn't know any of that when I chose.
See, I'm a Davian because look at that. It's a star, the sun. Obviously the best. Nobody wants to be Merrick or Lau. Come on. Merrick especially. Lau's at least you can be the bad guys, but Merrick's are like so generic.
Lau is communist China.
So, yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to go House Steiner, just for obvious reasons.
Steiner.
Yeah.
You and Pat together again. Copacetic, your brainwaves.
Like minds, man. Like minds.
Okay, Jack, what's your ad so we can get out of here?
Okay, let's see. Do I have an ad? Yes. Page 80, but my writing in the low light conditions, I don't know what it is.
Don't eat quiche.
Quiche.
Oh, okay, yes. Before I even type in and go down there, yes, because this ad became iconic. This is the ad for Dungeon Magazine that's coming out. And I remember seeing this, and when I saw it at first, just the write-up's funny in a kind of lame way about mocking preconceived notions about barbarians and what one would say. Well, it was advertising the new Dungeon Magazine. So yes, this was subscription card, the blow-in as it would be called. You would get one that had so if you wanted a subscription to Dragon, and they threw one in for Dungeon. So they became your bookmarks. When you got your magazine, you would just flop, 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 flop. Blow-ins would all fall on the ground. You'd grab one.
I just dog-eared the pages.
Now, Pat had the best system. What he said he did was he would just, as he was reading, he would just tear that page out
and
throw
when he's done with it
in the trash so that you knew where you were.
Well, he burned it. He put it on fire and threw it in the trash. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an anecdote about quiche. You want to hear it?
Yes, I think we have some time.
No. You don't want to
as
hear
long
this
as we-
anecdote about quiche. It's not a good one.
But as long
There's
as
a reason I don't eat quiche.
but we preface this by saying that it used to be a thing. Real men don't eat quiche. I don't know what the source of that was, but that was a pretty famous kind of a saying. So that's why don't eat quiche is on here. But yes, please go on with your quiche based anecdote.
I've only had quiche once, and I was a young child, and it was bad, and it made everybody sick, and I threw up for days, and I will never eat quiche again.
That's too bad because quiche is good.
No.
Quiche is delicious.
The word quiche makes me a little...
When it's like a cheddar bacon quiche.
No. My stomach's a little queasy just hearing the word.
Bacon with a little bit of spinach.
How about if I serve it to you, but we'll call it egg pie?
Oh, I have egg pie all the time.
I'm eating it now. the meringue on top's a little unsettling, but
yuck. Well, most pies have eggs. That's another. Anyways, anything else, guys? Is that it?
Yes, page 9.
Oh, you got another one.
If we're going to go into the deep dive into the lore of Rob's culinary catastrophes, so if we were to have a meal and there was curly fries and quiche,
yeah, I had curly fry issue too.
Oh God,
same thing. Issue with curly fries made me sick once. It's true. Anyways,
I digress. Where were you going?
We go to page 9.
Dragonfire 2.
Dragonfire 2 now available on Commodore.
Ooh.
This is why I think it's Dragon version 2 because now you can
expensive.
do it for Commodore. Yeah, but it was like, what is this? This was like all the DM's guide and everything in it or whatever.
Was it even that much?
I don't even remember.
I think it was just a way to organize your campaigns and stuff.
I just remember we talked about Dragonfire a long time ago and how this was apropos how how we're playing D&D now.
It's it can be used with most role-playing systems, so I think it is just an organization tool, really.
Yeah.
Kind of like Roll20, probably. It's probably like an early version of that, you know?
Yeah. Super expensive. But the good news is now you can use it on the Commodore.
Well, it's important. Commodore's taking charge. I bet we'd see
at this point, because we lose the 2E, because that goes tits up. Commodore 64 and then 128 take over.
IBM's coming up with Windows is coming around soon, and so all the IBMs and clones will be coming. Yeah, within a couple years at very least.
386s in about a year should be coming out.
Yeah, somewhere like that.
That's what I had. The Hewlett Packard.
Yeah,
because there was a guy on the floor who had a 386, and everyone put their term papers and stuff on his computer.
Yeah,
and then we just all did the illegal thing and shared it throughout the whole dorm.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'm the only one left, so let's do my last ad, page 31.
Which one?
Cyworld.
Oh, Cyworld.
When I saw this, all I said was a whole RPG of psionic powers.
Yep.
With a big psi.
Maybe it's Cyworld, like what was the song he sang? Psy?
Gundam style?
Gundam style.
Opa Gundam style.
So maybe that's what it is. RPG based on that song.
I don't know. Just the whole sound.
It does sound like the role-playing game for Firestarter when you read the review. Yeah. It's like, it's somebody watched Stephen King's Firestarter and said, let's make a role-playing game. Which, back in the day, I can say I've done many times where I'm like, I watched a movie, let's make a role-playing game about it.
Okay.
So,
I actually preferred the second movie, Breathe.
Oh, not Smack My Bitch Up?
See, Rob got the reference.
The trilogy?
No one else did. Everyone else was like,
that's right. That's it. If you get that reference, please comment below.
But those are my two ads. Those are my ads. Cyworld. Ugh.
Not Heroes. I'm pretty sure I have these because I think I have all the DC Hero stuff. So
yeah, I don't think I ever played Heroes.
Like I said, I got it in a huge bundle because it was like $20 for everything. It was like crazy. I loved the old convention when you go to it, and that on the Sunday they just like take it, please.
Yeah,
I got a
They don't
huge.
seem to do that anymore.
No, not at all. No, it's not the same.
I definitely don't do that.
It's not. It's not. I don't know. It's more like companies, at least at Gen Con and Adepticon. It's not like that. I remember at UbiCon, it was more like just sellers, right? It was just people selling.
It was
stuff.
individual
Local
retail
game stores.
Yeah.
That there was the stuff that they wanted
stock,
to get rid of anyways.
Yeah. So it'd just be like, so they want it gone. So you just. So I think a lot of toy shows and stuff are like that, but for some reason, the big RPG shows and the big Adepticon, they don't really do that. Maybe we're just not going to the right shows, guys. Maybe that's it. Does Little Wars? What's Little Wars like?
Little Wars is a little bit of both.
Do you get the game stores and stuff?
Yeah, there's most game stores and a couple like Mantic, Warlord.
Bigger companies, yeah.
Bigger store. There is John used to go, Cav. Talent Games was it, and the guys who are the academy games, the guys who are making the Stellaris game are always there too.
Oh yeah, based on the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I like going to Games Plus, because it is that kind of feeling. Like they don't have the bundles though like that though. They have a lot of old stuff and it's fun to find, but they don't really have big sales like that really.
No, they do some at Gen Con sometimes, but we don't ever go to them in Gen Con.
No, it's we're usually like, we're just gonna visit them later. Yeah, we should actually check them out, see if there's any good bundles. Because I love getting old bundles of games. I always just love.
Because they bring out the deep cut.
I know they bring out the expensive stuff
for Gen Con.
Yeah, they bring out like I remember what was the electronic one that you wanted. They brought there and sold it.
Oh yeah, the Milton Bradley electronic D&D game.
Yeah, they bring out the stuff they know the collectors want to buy.
We went out there and I almost bought it.
Yeah.
Me and Rob did before we went to Gen Con. I almost bought it, and then I said no.
If it's here after Gen Con, I'll buy it, and it wasn't.
I'll buy it. It never came back.
Because that's the kind of thing that sells at Gen Con for sure. Because you get some collectors who are looking for cool stuff, and Games Plus is the place to have cool stuff. So we should have them as a sponsor. Pat, work on that.
Okay.
Anyways, I think that's it for the episode, right? Anything else, guys?
No. I'm good.
Like, share, subscribe, comment about anything we talked about, complain about anything we talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Call us boomers if you want.
Well, we're not. We're all Gen X.
We're all Gen X.
We're all Gen X here.
Yeah, but it'd be funny. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, only millennials say that, though. We don't like millennials, so.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Toasty.
We're talking about your wife, Pat.
Oh, she's not a millennial.
She might be millennial.
She's Gen Y.
On that bombshell.
I think she's Gen Z. She just turned 21.
21. You just keep telling yourself that. Anyways, on that bombshell, I've been Rob.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Chopper.
And if you want Pat to release his child bride from the dungeon in his basement, please comment below.
She's free to leave anytime she pays the tax.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know the taxes.
Darcy would be losing her mind if she was allowed to
yeah,
do
that's
this.
right. Terrible.
Ooh.
That's called satire, people. It used to be a thing that people did.
Yeah, it's fun banter. We give and we take.
Yes.
Okay. We'll be back next week with 113. Lucky number 13. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.